Greetings to you all. I am the Grim Reaper, and welcome to the first ever Ask the Grim Reaper podcast. Now you may be asking yourself, Grim Reaper, why are you doing a podcast instead of a video this week? Well, as you guys have known, I've been chilling for the past 2 weeks, and I didn't know that when you chill, you start to lose your beauty. Seriously, I look ugly right now. So until I can get my looks back up, I'm just gonna do a podcast instead. And it wouldn't be a cool podcast without a guest. So, welcome one and all, my manager, Donald Garrison Jr. Hi guys. So Donald, how's your day been today? Well, let's see. I went to school, got nagged by teachers, played in my jazz band, and not too much, actually. What about you, Grim? Well, I've reaped a few souls, as I normally do. Yeah, uh-huh. And, I'm starting to record for my Let's Plays are coming up in the future. Cool. Wait, you're doing Let's Plays? Yes, I am doing Let's Plays. Huh. Okay. Well, let's just get to the questions, okay? Alright. Well, let's see what our first question is today. Our first question today is from Racticus the Great, and he asked me 2 questions today. The first one is, do you play an instrument? Yes, I do. I play the bugle, and I rock at it. Oh, I play percussion. No one cares, Donald. Anyway, his second question is, who is the king of dank memes? Look, I love dank memes, but I have no idea who the king is. I know. Really? Who is it? My friend, Donnie. He is the king of dank memes. The emperor, maybe. Maybe even the czar. Okay. There you have it. Donnie is the king of dank memes. Our next question is from... I can't pronounce her name. I guess I'll put it on the screen or something. Anyway, this person asked me, does the universe have an end? Yes. It's in 3012. You guys were 1,000 years off. Yeah, I know it sucks. Anyway, Ashley asked us 3 questions today. And the first question she asked was, are pigs fruits? You know, I don't actually get that. Me neither. Anyway, no, pigs are vegetables. Wait, what? Don't question it. Anyway, her next question was, do you like mashed potatoes? Everyone likes mashed potatoes, right, Donald? Actually, I hate mashed potatoes. Well, I like them anyway. Is it true cannibals don't eat clowns because they taste funny? Oh man, what's up with all these terrible jokes lately on my show? I got a good joke for you. It's called the Coffin joke. The Coffin joke? Tell me. Okay then. So there's this guy named Jimmy, and he's riding his bike to work. Because, you know, he needs to exercise. And on the side of the road, there's this car, it's broken down. And when Jimmy rides past it, he hears a sound. Whump. He was confused. He's like, what's that sound? He hears it again. Whump. Confused by what that sound was, Jimmy goes over to investigate where the whumping is coming from. And he thinks it's from the car. So he goes to the car, and the car starts rattling. It's making the noise really loud. Whump, 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 whump. And all of a sudden, a coffin pops out. A coffin? Yeah, a coffin. Just roll with it. Anyway, Jimmy's confused. He's like, a coffin? That's weird. But before he can really think about anything, the coffin stands up all by itself and starts hopping toward Jimmy, making that same sound. Whump, whump, whump. Jimmy is really terrified, so he ditches his bike and runs to the nearest taxi. And he goes to the taxi driver and says, hey man, you gotta get me out of here. I don't care where you're taking me or how long it takes. I just need to get out of here right away. And the taxi driver says, okay, sir, but I have to warn you. I charge a lot more than usual. than other taxi drivers do, because, times are tough. So anyway, he says to the taxi driver, yeah, just let me go. And the taxi driver asks, are you sure? But before Jimmy can respond, he hears a sound. Whomp. So now the taxi driver's scared. So he lets Jimmy get into his taxi and he drives as far away from the coffin as he can. But the coffin is still chasing after them, making that same sound. Whomp, 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 whomp. Eventually the coffin catches up to them, jumps high in the air, lands on the taxi driver's head, and the taxi spins out of control, and it crashes and Jimmy blacks out. Oh, they died. What a happy ending. They did die, right? No, not exactly. Are you kidding? Fine, what's next? A few days later, Jimmy wakes up and finds himself in the hospital. And the nurse comes up to him and says, "Oh, Jimmy, you're awake. Well, we think you might have suffered severe brain damage from the crash, so you'll have to stay in here for a while we run some tests." And then the nurse exits. Jimmy's just thinking to himself, what was that? Was that a dream? Or was that real? To calm himself down, he looks outside his hospital window, and it's a beautiful view. You can see the grass and the trees, the flowers, the people nearby. It was just beautiful. But before Jimmy can take it in, he hears a sound. Whomp. He looks out the window, and it's the coffin, staring straight up at him from down below. The coffin starts climbing up the hospital, making that same sound. Whomp, whomp, whomp. Terrified, Jimmy runs out of his room, and then the nurse catches him, and she says, "Jimmy, what have I told you? You have to stay in your room so we can run some tests, okay?" And then Jimmy asked, "Nurse, will you please look into my room?" The nurse looks into his room, and she hears a sound. Whomp. It's the coffin. So as the nurse is confused, Jimmy's running down the hallway with the coffin chasing him, making that same sound. Whomp, 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 whomp. Jimmy gets into an elevator, and he's frantically pressing the down button to get the elevator to close. And the coffin's getting closer and closer, and the elevator closes before the coffin can get in. And Jimmy's relieved, and he gives a great sigh. But from the elevator next to him, he can hear a sound. Whomp. Oh crap, Jimmy thinks. Anyway, okay, Donald. This joke is going on way too long. It's almost finished. Just a second. Anyway, when the elevator comes down to the bottom floor, Jimmy goes up to the secretary and asks, "Can you please call me a taxi? I need to get out of here." And the secretary says, "I'm sorry, sir, but you're a patient. I need to have doctor's approval before I can let you go." And then the other elevator opens, and you hear that sound again. Whomp. And the secretary's scared, so she just calls that taxi. And the taxi gets Jimmy, and it takes him home. Jimmy's at his house, relieved to get away from the coffin. He tries to open his door, but he realizes it's locked, because he's wearing a hospital gown, and his key is in his pants, which are in the hospital. So frustrated, Jimmy kicks the window open with his foot. There's a lot of glass in there. It really, really hurts. Anyway, Jimmy climbs into his house, and he's just thinking, what is going on with this coffin? But before he can think about it for long, he hears a sound. Everyone say it with me. Whomp. Oh, really? I thought it was whoop. Anyway, the coffin's chasing Jimmy around the house, making that same sound. Whomp, 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 whomp. Jimmy's trying to throw things at the coffin, but it's no use. The coffin's still going. Whomp, whomp, whomp. And then backs Jimmy into the bathroom. It gets close. Whomp. 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 Jimmy's frantically searching through the medicine cabinet to find things to throw at the coffin when he finds a bottle of cough syrup. And when he opens it, the coffin stops. Oh, it's hilarious. Well, I think we've all learned one thing from this podcast, right, Donald? What's that? To never do a podcast again. Ask me your questions for next week in the comments below, and I'll answer them next week if I can. And, yeah, we're never doing a podcast again. Donald, that joke was awful. Take care, remember, if you don't ask me a question, you will die. And Donald's probably gonna die now. Bye! Help me.